Now, guys, this is something that we all probably missed, and this cannot be a coincidence. So, guys, apparently we're watching what's unfolding in the Middle East right now. Not that it's unfolding, it unfolded. And there's a lot more things that are going to start happening behind us. But there are a couple of things that I just noticed this morning after working out. I'm like, wait a second. Benjamin Netanyahu is part of the WEF. And now we have this war, if you will, in the Middle East. Then we have Zelensky, who's also part of the WEF. And he has a war over there. You have Putin, who was a prodigy or student of Klaus Schwab, but not part of the WEF. But nonetheless, he sets off a war. You have these countries right now, guys, who are part of the WEF, who's setting off this so-called war. One has to wonder, was this part of their master plan to set all of this in motion, to get everybody scared, to start the whole war thing going, so that people can now look for hope? And hope would come in the form of or from WEF, the World Economic Forum, coming in and saving everybody. Or setting off something, a nuclear device, and again, the WEF stepping in, saving people who survive whatever happens. Now, that's, again, my conspiracy theory brain in overdrive the last couple of weeks now, because a lot of things have been adding up are not making sense. For example, how did, once again, Israel miss out on this catastrophe that unfolded in their country? How did they miss this big planning? There were more than 1,000 people involved, 1,000 soldiers, if you will, involved. That's probably not even including the leadership that was involved in this. Then you had Iran, who was funding this, if you will. You had Hezbollah and Hamas, and no one knew anything. And then Egypt, of course, just yesterday admitted to letting Israel know that something big was coming their way, and Israel flubbed it off. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, who was outed and then back in, and then this happens. Too many things, guys, and too many coincidences start to look like this was absolutely in play and allowed to happen. Granted, listen, Muslims were going to attack Israel at some way, shape, or form or another. They were looking to go after them. So that's always been something that we knew was going to happen. These two people, religions, if you will, cannot get along. They just can't. But to get intel from Egypt and then flub it and be like, this is not going to happen, there's no way that's going to happen, that's too big for them. Lack of imagination, or just flubbing it off to let this happen, to have an excuse to start a war to destroy Gaza Strip and expand into that area, right? Now, Israel is probably going to make a path through Palestine. Possibly what could be going on there. They're looking to expand. Who knows? Nonetheless, guys, this looks like it was all put in play on purpose and put on play earlier to look like a false prophecy. Because I know a lot of you are like, well, the Bible says a lot of things. But if these people who know the Bible, believe it or not, set this in motion early, this could be false prophecy. And the real war, first of all, is something that we're definitely not going to see coming, because there's going to be a false world peace there. And again, that's false prophecy. The Antichrist is going to create world peace in the Middle East at first, and then all hell's going to break loose. And I'm paraphrasing and making everything a lot smaller and a lot faster, but apparently it's going to take time to get there. Nonetheless, it's not the point. The point is, guys, is that this is something that we are definitely missing, because the people in play are the people who are also with the World Economic Forum. And again, guys, how does Israel ignore this giant plan that had too many moving parts and they just missed it? And how did no counterintelligence agency in the world catch this? Other than Egypt, how did the U.S. not catch this? That raises an eyebrow right there. There's a lot of counterintelligence officers and CIA officers, counterintelligence officers in the Middle Eastern region. How did they miss that? How did Israel, who has the best counterintelligence technology and field, they're the best in their field, how did they miss that? And then they were given a heads up and still ignored it. When Israel, guys, if you so much as tell them that one terrorist is moving in a direction to plan something, they're all over it. And they're always suspicious of any Muslim in that country doing anything weird. They have, in fact, over the years, taken people who they thought were part of a terrorist organization and interrogated them in a lot of places, and a lot of times killed them. Right? So now, and this is like that black ops kind of shit. So now you mean to tell me they get this intel about people they're always suspicious about, and they just go, that's not going to happen? This is definitely something that was let to happen. This is definitely something, guys, that we're falling for, because they're creating this world divide, because they know that, listen, guys, these high-ranking officials in the world are smarter than us, or think they're smarter than us. They know that this is going to create a great divide on this planet. Forget about just individual countries on this planet. This is the great divide. You got people from all sides siding with, not everyone, but everyone from all sides splitting up and following Palestinians and Israelis. Sorry. So if this is set in motion, again, to also divide the world, because again, here in New York, you got Israelis and Palestinians, and then you got people who are not Palestinians, who are pro-Palestinians joining that fight. You got people who are not Israelis, or Israelites, if you will, joining the Israeli side. You got you got people just dividing themselves. This was meant to happen. They need more divisive issues. I talked about this in many of my videos, how Mr. 19 was a very divisive issue. Donald Trump being allowed to run in the next election, very divisive issues. The more dividing they create, guys, the more division, rather, they create, the better they can control us. Because you can't control a group of people who stand together and stand tight and fight whatever's coming next. But if you continuously divide us, you can break us down into individuals and start scooping us up through way of hope. Because somebody right now is writing a script on how to bring the world together on false hope and false promises. I guarantee you that. And I just have a bad feeling, not about this war, because this is going to get crazy. I think now that the nuclear option's on the table, this is going to get out of control. But once we get to that out of control point, we hit the peak, we're going to come back down on the other side, and somebody's going to come in form of help, hope, and people are going to buy this bullshit. The world elites, guys, or the devil's minions, know the Bible inside out. They know what to do and when to do it, because biblically it looks awesome for them to have people fall for it, to follow them. Just trying to tie both of them together, because I see something, and it's been bothering me for the last couple of days now that this happened. And now I'm starting to, again, guys, I am not super religious, but thoughts been entering my head the last couple of days, and something is telling me that this whole thing isn't right. Though we knew that this was going to happen, something about this particular event in Israel doesn't feel right. Anyway, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.